Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. Today is February 4th, 2026. We are here for a regular City Commission meeting, but as we say at the start of each meeting, no meeting is ever regular because there's always important and meaningful work to take care of here on this agenda. And so let's please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. At the start of each meeting, we also take an important moment to recognize our veterans, active service personnel, and their families. So if you are a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces or a family member of a service member, past or present, please rise. We'd like to recognize you. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Biederman.
Here.
Commissioner Quintana.
Here.
Commissioner Shuham.
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Here.
Vice Mayor Kaleri.
Here.
Commissioner Gruber.
Here.
Mayor Levy.
Here. Thank you. Today's consent agenda includes items 5 through 17. These are items that don't usually require individual discussion. However, if there is a speaker card or a request from the dais, we're happy to remove an item to hear comments or consider it individually. Pat, are there any speaker cards on 5 through 27?
No cards.
5 through 17. No cards. Any requests from the dais? If not, then we'll.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Kaleri and a second from
Second.
Commissioner Shuham to approve items 5 through 17 on consent. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, those items carry unanimously. If you were here for any of those items, you are free to go. Let's go ahead now to our proclamation recognizing Black History Month, which of course is the month of February here in the year 2026. I'd like to invite Vice Mayor Kaleri to present the proclamation. Accepting the proclamation, I see folks here from the African American Advisory Council. Ms. Reese and company, please come on up. Good to see everybody. Vice Mayor Kaleri.
Thank you, Mayor. Proclamation, City of Hollywood, Florida, in recognition of Black History Month, February 2026. Whereas Carter G. Woodson, known as the father of Black history, originally founded Negro History Week in February of 1926 to honor the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, two key figures in the fight for freedom and equality. In 1976, President Gerald Ford expanded the recognition from 1 week to a month. Each February, National Black History Month honors the achievements and extraordinary contributions of African Americans, highlighting the legacies and the generations who have shaped our nation's history, culture, and progress. And whereas the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, which was formed by Mr. Woodson, has provided annual themes for Black History Month since 1928. This year's theme, A Century of Black History Commemorations, celebrates 100 years of honoring the rich history, culture, and achievements of Black Americans. And whereas the theme invites us to reflect on the evolution of the observance from its beginnings as a week-long effort to a month-long national and global celebration of resilience, brilliance, and resistance. And whereas throughout our nation's history, Black Americans have shattered barriers, driven innovation in science, arts, business, and technology, and consistently led the fight for justice, equality, and the revitalization of the American dream. Black history is not separate from American history, but rather an essential thread that shapes our collective identity, requiring us to acknowledge both the triumphs and the struggles against injustices. And whereas the City of Hollywood will participate in several community celebrations, including an event hosted by the city's African American Advisory Council on February 26 at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. which is amazing, by the way, community center, encouraging all residents to attend and honor the vital heritage. Now, therefore, Josh Levy, the mayor of the city of Hollywood, Florida, and the Hollywood City Commission hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month. Nope.
Now it's on. I want to thank you so much, Vice Mayor, Mayor Levy, commissioners, and the distinguished Commissioner Number 2, District 2, Peter Hernandez, my commissioner. What can I say? I accept this proclamation on behalf of the African American Advisory Council, and today I have some of the members here with me. And I know Allison, had an emergency, but we really, really, really appreciate her and all that she encouraged us to do, keep us in check. And she's the best liaison. Well, I don't want Anthony to hear that, but
We're happy to have
really,
her.
really do. Yes, yes, yes. So if any of you all would like to just give a little word or two, Georgette, or either Christina.
Georgetta's never short on words.
No. And what about you?
So you always have something to say, so we invite you to. In a positive way, of course. Always positive.
Exactly. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Especially my mayor, my commissioner. Thank you all, though, very much. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. I love Black History. That's all about Georgette. So
Yep.
thank you again.
Well, thank you all. We appreciate the efforts of the committee and everyone who works to preserve and share Black history throughout the year, and also, of course, during this month. Looking forward to the event on the 26th.
Yes.
And it'll all be a great time to celebrate and learn. So thank you all so much. Please come on up for a photo. We'd like to spread the word about Black History Month.
Mayor, may I ask something? Georgette, what's going on with Juneteenth? Can you tell us, can you give us an update as to what the celebration is going to look like? And do you need any help from here?
I need a lot of help, but right now, we're still in preparations. I gotta wait first because I don't want to overstep and finish with my meeting with Rick and the chief. So once I have that meeting, I'll be able to give you an update. But right now, it's too early to say.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Please come on up for a photo. All right. All right, on to an ordinance. Item 19 is an ordinance of the City Commission, amending Chapter 72 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Parking, amending the definitions of and regulations concerning commercial vehicles, providing for a severability clause and a repealer provision. This is an ordinance on first reading from the Office of Parking and Code Compliance, was requested from the dais, so I want to thank the staff for their work on this. I'll go ahead and open a public hearing on it. Are there any speaker cards on item 19?
No cards.
Public hearing is now closed.
Motion to approve.
Hold on, Peter, if I could, just to offer something. In the definitions of type A commercial vehicle, and I spoke with Javon about this, item 1, I think it's supposed to read the capacity is more than 1 ton, because 1 ton or more would trip up just a standard F-350 or 3500 pickup truck. So just if the motion could be that in the type A commercial vehicles, that subsection 1 would read the capacity is more than 1 ton. If you-
What's type B?
I'm sorry?
What's the other type? Weight?
So you know what a Ford F-350 is? It's basically a pickup truck that has a
But
stronger
in
chassis.
in the ordinance, there were two categories. I don't have it open in front of me.
Yeah, for type A, we only have to describe it in type A because type A's are what are
Traditionally, commercial.
our commercial vehicles. So my point is that a pickup truck or a truck with a capacity of more than 1 ton is a commercial truck that has the restrictions with regards to parking in the residential neighborhoods. But I don't want to trip up an F-350 from being able to park in a driveway because there's no difference between an F-250 or a 350 besides its chassis and its
Engine.
tonnage capacity, towing capacity and things.
The
So-
dual wheels is the difference between a 250 and a 350.
Can we get clarification?
Hey, Roger.
We on? We on? There we go.
Let's register.
I was in it.
Not always.
No, I know. While we're waiting,
So, Commissioner, what the mayor was alluding to was that on Type A commercial vehicle, currently right now it states the capacity is 1 ton or more. We just want to switch that word to the opposite way and say the capacity is more than 1 ton. So it's just a change in position of the words.
Oh,
That's all.
Yeah.
and I'm good with that.
And there's no other changes that are being requested or made. The goal here is to allow restrict Type A vehicles and allow Type B commercial vehicles to park within the residential neighborhoods. And that's what the intent of this ordinance is.
I'd love to see the presentation if it helps clarify. I love pictures. It helps me.
and we have time. I'd like to see it too.
Sure. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager. As the mayor mentioned, this is item PO-2026-002. Staff has a small presentation for you. So a little bit of the history. Chapter 72 of the Hollywood Code of Ordinances classifies commercial vehicles as a Type A or Type B. That's currently in code. Under the current ordinance, any vehicle displaying commercial markings, regardless of its size, cannot be in a residential area. All commercial vehicles, Type A and Type B, are prohibited from overnight parking currently, and as a result, city residents who are assigned take-home vehicles by their employers are not permitted to bring them home. Just to summarize the changes, 2 changes, generally speaking. It removes the restriction from Type B, the markings to allow them to, people with take-home vehicles to bring them home. And it does limit parking of Type B vehicles to 2 per unit. So there's still a restriction on the number, or there is a restriction on the number as proposed. What's the difference between a Type A and a Type B? Type A is large commercial vehicles, so it's those items listed in the ordinance, which is more than 1 ton, overall height is 10 feet or higher, overall width exceeds 9 feet, et cetera. They're usually taller, longer, wider, and heavily marked with commercial signage, and they do create greater visual and physical impacts to the neighborhood. So you can see on your right-hand side, we're thinking flatbed trucks, bulldozers, limousines, and buses. Type B vehicles are just the ones you normally see on the road that you yourselves drive. F-150, a Durango, a Mini Cooper, an F-350, things that are more passenger vehicle-like. And they're commonly used by residents. And under the new code provisions, those vehicles would be allowed to have signage and be brought home. It does not change that large trucks on residential streets are still not allowed. Storage and staging of commercial equipment within neighborhoods unless part of a construction project are not allowed. Temporary delivery vehicles and moving vans do remain allowed. Public safety and emergency vehicles remain allowed. So it's pretty much one minor change. And staff does recommend approval of section 72.110 and 72.112 of the Code of Ordinances.
All right, so this is an ordinance on first reading, and the motion on the floor was to approve the ordinance.
With the change.
Provided that the Type A commercial vehicle subsection 1 is capacity of more than 1 ton.
Mayor, I have a question. So
ahead.
does that change affect the vehicles that you just showed in the presentation? If we change that wording, does it change anything there?
No. No. What it does do, if you go back to slide 5, just to give you a visual on what I'm talking about. 2 slides back. The pickup truck that you see in the photo, that happens to be, I don't know, an F-150 or F-250. It could very easily be an F-350, but look exactly the same. So if we, with this change in the language, more than 1 ton, that pickup truck, no matter its chassis strength, F-150, 250, 350, would be treated the same.
Spoken like an expert in
I'm
cars.
just saying, yeah.
But no, Commissioner, it doesn't change anything within the ordinance or anything.
And I just had a quick question.
Hmm?
When you talk about the length of vehicles, notably the hearse, it's or, weight or length?
Any one of the following.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So what's the length on the vehicles that we're allowed?
I think it's 20, let me go back to it.
27 feet?
23,
23,
if it's greater than 23.
23 or less would be a type B vehicle and allowed if it had markings. More than 23,
No, I did not do it.
the overall length exceeds 23 feet, would not be allowed under type A.
Okay. What about in public parking? In other words, on the street? Paid parking? I see some vans and some,
Yeah,
was,
type A or type B? Type A, a larger vehicle?
no, the regular vans with
Type
air
B?
conditioning, plumbing, advertising, those will continue to be allowed to be parked on the side.
Yeah, those are still allowed.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because we have a working community that basically sometimes they don't live in a home, they live in an apartment, and they actually park on the street. I want to make sure that they have a place to park as well.
All right, so we have a motion as presented.
Excuse me, Mayor, who made the motion?
I did.
Commissioner Hernandez, second by Commissioner Gruber. All right. Any further discussion? If not, let's read the ordinance and call the roll call vote.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Hollywood, Florida, amending Chapter 72 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Parking, amending the definitions of and regulations concerning commercial vehicles, providing for a severability clause and a repealer provision.
Commissioner Biederman,
Yes.
Commissioner Quintana,
Yes.
Commissioner Shuham,
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kaleri,
Yes.
Commissioner Gruber,
Yes.
Mayor Levy.
Yes. All right, let's show the ordinance passing unanimously on first reading. Thank you, parking team. All right, on to our regular agenda. We have a resolution of the City Commission authorizing the city to issue a change order to a blanket purchase agreement with Motorola Solutions, Inc. for radio equipment services to increase the contract from $500,000 to $1.5 million and to increase the contract term from 1 to 3 years. So it's a net annual amount remains the same, except the contract moves from a 1 to a 3 year. I don't see any other speaker cards on 20.
Motion to
cards.
approve.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Kaleri and a second from
Second.
Commissioner Shuham to approve item 20. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. That passes unanimously and concludes our regular agenda.
Mayor,
Yes, City Manager.
if I may, if this is an appropriate time, we have an item to walk on, if now's a good time to introduce that.
Yes, sir.
So we learned in recent days, not in time for the regular agenda, that status change has taken place and an opportunity with the Joseph Young House. And so we've got some information to present to you about that right now to see what the desires of the commission is.
Thank you. Yes.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Raylan Story, Assistant City Manager. As you'll recall, sometime back, the City Commission supported, the majority of you supported the city staff looking into acquiring the property known as the Joseph Young House located at 1055 Hollywood Boulevard. At that time, in 2024, we reached out to the owner of the property and did some research related to the property. We, at that point, were not able to come to an agreement with the owner of the property to purchase it. But we did learn that the property was undergoing a foreclosure proceeding that had been taking place for some time. Most recently, our city attorney's office has been following this, and we understand that a final judgment of foreclosure has been entered into the circuit court. and the property is currently slated to be auctioned on February 11th, which is next week. So if it is the desire of the commission for us to participate in this and attempt to acquire the property, we would need authorization to do that. The resolution that the city clerk has handed out affords that authorization per the city's charter. It would allow us to participate in the auction and to continue to negotiate with the current owner, who does still own the property up until the time that this auction takes place, to see if we can reach an agreement to acquire the property. This does require a 5/7 vote. We've spoken with each of you individually about this. Obviously, the city, with its very public processes, is a little bit challenged to be sort of stealth in these things and kind of have to put a little bit of our hand out there. But we, have given you all of the information that we have regarding the current judgment amount and the appraisals and information that we have, and we're asking for your authorization to proceed.
Thank you, Raylan. Well, just members of the dais, I know we had spoken about this, I believe, in 2024, when it came to light that the property was offered on the open market at a pretty high figure back then, and we had made an effort, I think, to look into it, understanding that in advance of our centennial, this would be a really the most exciting and prestigious cultural site that we could ever gift the city for its centennial and beyond. As we all know, though, that did not go through. We couldn't, obviously come to accept perhaps the listing value of the house, and we, of course, didn't lose, I think, the desire to preserve the Joseph Young Mansion as a permanent, cultural site that commemorates our city's founding and the founding time of the city. I want you to know that I know that part of the discussion we had a couple years ago about purchasing the house, there was an analysis done on work that was needed for the property to rehabilitate maybe some maintenance and some structural aspects that weren't significant, but they amounted to, I think, at the time, more than $400,000 worth of work that we anticipated. And so, therefore, we were looking at, not only what would it cost to purchase it, but also what would it cost to maintain it. I know that's obviously something that we would have to be aware of. But if we were to acquire the house, the mansion, I'll call it, just note that since it is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, that designation would bring forth an opportunity to apply for grants at the state and federal level and local philanthropy, all to assist with rehabilitating a national historic site like this. And so I'm very confident that if we were to come to a meeting of the minds, that we could we could apply for and perhaps be awarded some grants to assist in the maintenance of it. And so I think everyone, besides that, I think you all certainly share how special this could be for the city if we do end up being able to purchase it. And so I'm certainly in favor of pursuing that. Obviously has a lot of promise for educational opportunity as a cultural site for the city, and really is a special place. I do want to commend the existing owner, who I think spent a lot of years, really, I think sharing his heart into wanting to preserve the best he could the home on the exterior side and also on the interior side. There's going to be work, but I think it's really a special place, and so I would certainly support authorizing the city to negotiate, and if we are able to purchase it within the parameters of this resolution, then I'm certainly in favor.
Mayor, if I may, when we did look at the site in 2024, the owner did allow us to come into the property, go throughout the property. I personally was a part of that tour. The mayor joined for a portion of that. We had our appraiser at the time also participating in that, and then a structural analysis of the property, which did determine that generally the property is structurally structurally sound. There are no overall problems with the foundation of the property at that point in time, and we don't anticipate that that has changed. I will say notable in my discussions over the years with the property owner is that he does, despite the financial conditions that led to the foreclosure proceeding, he has cared for the property. He is the person that felt very strongly about renewing some of the features of the property when he acquired it, and did invest some of his resources in it over the time that he had it in the early years, adding elements back in that maybe had been stripped away from the property. He showed me articles. He had a lot of what appeared to be sort of love and affection for the property, and has maintained it to the best of his ability since that time.
All right, thank you. I'll accept any discussion or motion. I'll wait to hear someone click in, to see someone click in.
I'll
Let's
make a
go.
motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second at this moment?
I'll second the motion, but I do just want to reiterate what you had stated, Mayor, about the historical preservation and about the importance of that and the opportunity for grants as needed. With that being said, so it's here's where I'm just a little torn. One, it's and not so much torn, but being, I guess, cautious with our funds, or the greater good, I guess you should say, greater good. So here's a historical, it's obviously something that is beneficial. There are restrictions, as we talked about, with what can and cannot be done in that area. We would not own ownership of it, but there is some type of control. But as we've seen throughout the years, that demolition by neglect type of situation, which I know that we've kind of stepped in a little bit, but there's also that opportunity that could create a bigger problem. The problem, or I guess the torn part is, we always talk about the greater good of all and what's the best. We talk about flooding, we talk about all these costs of all these life quality issues. And while something is super historic, which I think is very beneficial, it's that balance and making sure that we do the right thing. So I do support it. I just want to put that on the record that I am concerned, and I think that we have to be really creative with how we maneuver the finances, barter and trading, whatever we need to do to collaborate to be able to ascertain this property, because it has such value, but also being cognizant that that's a lot of money, and what is the greater good for all. So that's my biggest concern.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All right, so my queuing system here is activating your microphones when you press the button, so I'm going to go in order that you clicked in. Commissioner Hernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of questions, and I share more concerns in this, being that we should have been able to try to negotiate this without having to do it in the court steps. My question is, are we prepared to not let this property sit? I understand that there may be grants available, but if we buy the property and we let the property sit for years, it's counterproductive. And that's a concern that I have. Not the money that we're going to pay for it, but the money behind it in order to bring it to where we need to bring it to, and the time to do so. Otherwise, it'd be something that this commission will be, and the staff will be criticized for years for buying it and not doing something to bring it up to stuff. And that's a concern that I have, aside from the fact that we're doing this in a public fashion here, and it kind of takes away some of our bargaining power. So I like the idea, but I would prefer to have some more info before we actually give the okay to do something like this. That's a concern that I have, is not how much what we're paying for, but what we're looking to do on top of that. And if we don't have a budget for this, this could be a never-ending budget, number one. And number two, grants take time by the time you file, by the time you get them, by the time you implement them. So those are concerns that I have. And during the meantime, are we doing something that, with the funds, that we could have been doing something similar to what we could be doing next to the park, the skate park, for example? Not that this compares with that, but what can we get that versus this? Those are concerns that I have.
Sure. And
If you have
I-
any explanation, any feedback, I would love to hear it.
Sure, and I, certainly appreciate, I think that has been staff's, focus as well. We are in a position that we have what we consider to be one-time monies in fund balance that we can use for a one-time expenditure in order to acquire the property. But it is noted that there will be ongoing, maintenance and operational expenses associated with it that, we will need to plan for and work into our budget. But we do have the money to acquire it currently with those one-time dollars, which are appropriate for one-time expenses. I think, it is important to note that the current condition of the property allows it to be used immediately. So it is able to be immediately used as to conduct tours, to, start to be a historical resource in the city. Now, it is in a single-family residential neighborhood. It is, it has been used previously as a vacation rental. It has been used not in accordance with our code as a special event venue. We do not, at this point, obviously, these are things that would be explored, but I believe that there is not, a desire to continue to see it operate as a vacation rental or, as a very large-scale event venue in, the neighborhood. We currently do have other event-type venues in the neighborhood, like in this particular neighborhood, like the Hollywood Women's Club, even the current Hammerstein House at the Historical Society that the city owns but is leased under a long-term lease to the Historical Society, where they do have occasional events, but those events are managed by our special event process and are also appropriate for the overall environment.
Questions that I have is, you said that the house could be currently used, but it's currently being used as a residence for an individual. And if a municipality acquires a house and uses it for any particular use, it would have to meet ADA compliance. And those are the concerns that I have going forward when it comes to making sure that the property meets that. We also need to have 2 appraisers, if I understand correctly. So it makes it difficult for you to be able to pull the trigger within the next 10 days.
Yes.
And those are the concerns that I have, and how far is the commission willing to go with this? I love the idea, but I think that we've been talking about this for several years now, and it just doesn't look good coming up like this. But,
Well, this is how it, I mean,
I know it's how you're doing.
We have attempted many times, and quite frankly, this has only been something that the commission expressed a desire in the last 2 years to get, and we've been in constant communication watching this. The final judgment was issued right before the holidays, and this has not been an easy path. So the foreclosure sale was just set last week.
No, I know, and I don't think that staff has done anything wrong. Quite the contrary. I think you guys are going out of your way to try to make this work. But you said that you like to thank the current owner for some of this stuff. Quite frankly, if the current owner wanted to deal in good faith with the staff to try to sell the house, I think the house would have been sold by now, and we would have had a better approach when it comes to buying it than what we currently sit. So I take it with a grain of salt.
Understood.
All right, Commissioner Biederman?
So I'm very apprehensive.
Oops, let me go back to you. Go ahead.
Very apprehensive about a purchase of this magnitude without zero return on investment. It's not going to be like a park that could be accommodating, 50 people a day walking around it or anything like that. This is going to be very limited use. But in the spirit of a unanimous vote, I would support it because I think that's the way we need to do certain things like this. And I'm pretty confident that being that it's such a heavily traveled street, that neighbors and residents across the street that will be watching it every morning as they wake up and go to work will spot those things that need attention and have the ear of commissioners or directors that will be able to make sure that things don't get worse. And I think that in our hands is probably the only assurance that things will get better, not worse. So, I mean, I would support it for that reason, as long as it's not, another $2 million funeral home.
Gotcha. All right, thank you. Commissioner Quintana.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've had this conversation with the staff, but I think just in the interest of having it be here with all of you in public, many of you expressed what I said as well. I really see how important it is for us to preserve the history that we have here in Hollywood. So this is certainly an important structure for that purpose. And I understand that it's a one-time expense that we can make out of our fund balance. It's just that, like Vice Mayor Kalari said, we just have so many needs throughout the city that still need to be addressed. And, keeping in mind that $3 million is potentially what we're talking about, I just hope that if we're able to purchase this by auction, that we'll come up with a really creative business model that will allow us to somehow gain back some of the money invested in this purchase. I don't know what that will look like, and I guess we don't even need to, engage in too much discussion about that until we know if we have the property. But I do think that that's something we need to have at the forefront of our minds if we're able to purchase it.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Kalari? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And then here's, this will definitely be a test because here we're again, walking on an item on an agenda that we continually get ridiculed for not allowing public input on. But these are the tough decisions that we have to make. And just by listening to everyone's opinions and concerns, I think that, these are the times that we got to step up to the plate and do what we've been elected to do. And so it seems to me as if we all are pretty much concerned. We've expressed our concerns, but in agreement of pursuing. So you have a motion and a second. I think we should call the vote.
All right, let's do that. Commissioner Gruber?
Just want to chime in. Also, a little reluctant on the price, but I think if there's any property in the city of Hollywood that we want to grab, it's this one. And if we don't, then February 11th, it goes to the courthouse steps, and there's a good chance it becomes an Airbnb. So I'm for this.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution as walked on. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the item carries unanimously. Raylene and team, let's see what you can do. Thank you. All right, so the next item on our agenda, of course, is 5 p.m. citizen comments. Comments by the City Commission, City Attorney, and City Manager. It is a little bit before 2 o'clock. Let's run through our commission comments, and then we'll meet here again at 5 p.m. for citizen comments. Let's go ahead to Commissioner Quintana.
First?
You're first.
Okay. All right, here we go. Where's my thing? Thank you, Mayor. I think I would just like to take a moment to express my appreciation for our Hollywood Police Department, the professionalism and community, the commitment that they have to building community trust. I want to make sure that I say this out loud because it's not always something that we can take for granted, and it needs to be said out loud. Our police department demonstrates that they understand that trust is earned through consistent actions, transparency, and accountability. They strive to maintain open lines of communication and to uphold the highest ethical standards in all aspects of their work. I just want to say that, again, I really appreciate that that's the values by which you operate, and I've seen that be the case many times. So I just wanted to take a moment to say that. Thank you, Chief, for your leadership. So I want to invite everybody, kind of goes in line with what I just said. On February 7th, the Wiener Museum of Design, the WMODA Museum is having a film screening. It's Let Love Guide the Way. Your Way, excuse me. It's at 1 o'clock at the museum, and if any of you have had a chance on State Road 7 across from the Hard Rock, you'll see the beautiful sculpture that it goes hand in hand with this idea of let love guide the way. So I'll be there for the film screening, and I hope I get to see some of our residents and there as well. On February 13th, I want to make sure everybody knows that we're having our monthly story time in the park. Yay, at the Washington Park Community Center, 6 to 7:30. Any families who want to come join us, Rose Aluador, she's a resident in the Lawn Acres community who is really the brain behind this idea. And we're going to be reading stories and sharing information and having a good time together on February 13th from 6 to 7:30. On February 18th, I just want to, announce out loud how important it is, certainly for people in District 6, that we're discussing septic to sewer conversion citywide. And I just want to put it on everyone's radar that we all want to be informed about that process as we go. So if you're not able to come in person or watch it live, it will be recorded. On February 22nd, woo! As many of you know, we were supposed to have the Party on the J last Sunday. We made the difficult decision to postpone it. Thank you to our city staff for the way that they did that. So sometimes it's not about what you do, but how you do it. So our city staff reached out with the idea that it might not be the best conditions for us to have a successful event if it's a 27-degree wind chill outdoors. And they consulted with the business owners who have been working hand in hand with our staff and with Memorial Hospital to put on this event. So the new date, February 22nd, please mark your calendar and come for the Party on the J. It's going to be the same vibe, just warmer weather. 12 to 4, 58th Avenue and Johnson Street. And on February 26th, this is the last thing I'll be announcing, Read for the Record. It's your opportunity to volunteer at a school or preschool center near you to read the same story at the same time. We have been leaders in the country with the most engagement of people volunteering to read with children. And the kids get to take home that one book. And so please participate. If you want to volunteer, handsonbroward.org, handsonbroward.org. You go there and you sign up and you pick which school you want to read at. It's really a lot of fun. So that's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Quintana. Let's go to Commissioner Shuham.
Thank you, Mayor. Just first, a few thank yous. I wanted to say thank you publicly to Adam and the city manager and the other assistant city managers for a productive trip to Tallahassee. Aside from being very cold, I thought the trip was well planned and well organized, and I think that we did a good job advocating on behalf of our residents. I just wish that Adam would stop sending us the proposed legislation that's coming through the pike because it is stressful. But just thank you for a trip well done. I also wanted to express thanks to our Fire Safety Division and the Robbins Foundation. We read the article about the Narcan kits being placed everywhere we have the defibrillators, and that's really exciting. Now, if you're at any location where we maintain defibrillators, there'll also be a Narcan kit there, and hopefully our residents, our first responders, and everyone will have access to yet another life-saving device. So that was really thrilling to read that. Jovan, you get the big thanks on the iguanas. We got a suggestion from a resident the first cold day that it was kind of far for people to put comatose iguanas in their trunk and drive to Sunrise, and the suggestion was that we have a drop-off point, and within 24 hours, our staff had that up and running. Thank you, Joseph. I actually said to Joseph, is this within our staff's job description? And indeed it was. So thank you. Lastly, I wanted to raise something that I had tried to discuss a few conferences ago with all of you, and in fact, Commissioner Clary just brought it up, and that is just adding a simple check and balance to the rules by which we operate these commission meetings having to do with things that come on the agenda with the 5/7 vote. Right now, as we just did, our rules that are passed by resolution allow things that aren't part of the printed agenda to be passed with a 5/7 vote, and we've done that. And it just seems like lately we're using this device on issues both large and small, and on issues both time-sensitive and not time-sensitive. And it is my suggestion, and I would love to have the support of three of you, that we make a simple modification here, and that is that we keep the language that we have in here, but at the end we put such items shall be limited to only those that the city manager or the city attorney deem time sensitive. So what we just voted on, I think, is an absolutely perfect example. This property just went up for auction. We would have missed it if we didn't have that 5/7 vote allowed. And I think we used it in this case exactly as I would envision it. I think this simple change would elevate the respect that we have for each other, giving us time to talk about things, respect for staff, giving them the opportunity to vet our ideas, and our residents, giving them a better chance to come in here and speak about things that are on the agenda. If something is not time sensitive, it doesn't mean it goes away. It just means that it would be on an upcoming agenda. We would have support for three of us like we do now. So that's what I'm seeking support for, is just clarifying what's in our rules, that the 5/7 vote is limited to items that are time sensitive. Can I get support for that? Or discussion?
I'll support it.
Thank you. I guess I'm just
I think time
curious.
sensitive is subjective, and it could be interpreted many different ways. So I think it's good the way it is. You know, you can't keep tweaking everything just to try and make it a utopia for a few select people that have an issue with it. I think it's perfect the way it is.
I don't think
go ahead.
that's clarifying something. I think you're changing something. You said
Well, you're
clarifying. You're not
reducing-
clarifying it. You're
reducing.
changing what it is and making it more restrictive. Yeah, I wouldn't support that.
So for example, if you have a board that has an opening and someone submits their name and we appoint them just based on something that comes up here, and we've done it, and we've done a lot of things, and I'm not suggesting anything that we've done is bad or wrong. It's just not necessary. Why wouldn't we wait 2 weeks and have something come back to us if it's not time sensitive?
So Commissioner
Sometimes we deprive people of the opportunity to share. We also sometimes lead ourselves to unintended consequences by not listening to maybe what staff would like to input, or maybe what some of our residents would like to input, et cetera.
So I think the request fails for lack of support. Let's go on to Commissioner Hernandez for any comments today.
My comment is, I'd like to thank staff for all the work they've done, code, parking, regarding some of the needs that we have in the area, and particularly with what's coming with the one-way street. Having said that, what we just happened right now, if everybody wants something, it's okay to do a 5/7 vote. If somebody doesn't want something, then we ridicule by the people that don't want it versus the people that do. And that's, it used to be where it needed to be something to be unanimous vote, and it got changed to 5/7 vote. I'm okay with the 5/7 vote because it has the ability for you to be able to have a balance. If somebody is on the line, that person can have their mind change. I wasn't crazy about what we just did, but I happen to know that it's something that we've been looking for years. It's not something that we just thought about it on the last minute. It just presented itself where it needed to be in an urgent matter for us to come in front of us to do it. And I would hate to restrict us to have the ability to do so, or to give our powers to our staff. Not that I have anything wrong with our staff, but the way you mentioned it, it would be up to the city attorney or the city manager. What's wrong with it being up to this commission? And that's what this is about. So, no. I don't need a reply. I just wanted you to know why I did not support it, and I do not support it. And having said that, I like for everybody to have a warm day. It's warming up, and we've had some of the coldest weather that we have had in 15 years in Florida. And I can remember when it actually snowed in South Florida back in 1977. So we're going through some interesting times, and I hope you have a great party on the J. I know that we missed the day to do it, but from some, they said that would have been the day to have the air conditioning on outside. But nonetheless, it's a great day.
We'll find out on the 22nd.
That's it.
If that
I'll
was
be
a good
back.
decision or not. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Hernandez. All right, Vice Mayor Kaleri, any comments today?
I just briefly, I don't have much. I don't want to take up a lot of time. I just want to extend gratitude and thanks to Allison Saffold, Lauren, Tamira, Officer Lumpkins, and the youth ambassadors who ventured up to Tallahassee via bus. I feel that they had a very memorable experience, learned a lot, and I'm just really thankful that we get to embrace our youth and really show them what it's all about, and to be a public servant and learning the ins and outs at the Tallahassee level. So thank you, everyone, for indulging me with that task. But most importantly, thank you, Allison, Lauren, Tamira, and Officer Lumpkins for all your support as well.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Let's go to Commissioner Gruber for any comments today.
Just a few things. Also, I want to thank Adam and staff, George, Raylyn, and Jovan for a very productive trip to Tallahassee. Bunch of meetings, very productive. We got to kind of opine on some important stuff that's coming down, and I think people actually listen to some of our ideas. So hopefully that'll turn out the way we need it to. That was at the Playland Estate Civic Association meeting the other night, and they were asking if someone could get back to me about the traffic calming that's supposed to be coming there. I think it's the next phase. They're supposed to be getting some speed humps. Just if I can get an update on that. Thank you, Joseph Kroll, for the pedestrian solar lights that some have been installed in District 4. People have been raving about it. I suggest to all my colleagues, if you have some spots that are dark in your areas, I think there's still a handful left, right, Joseph? To see if you know any dark spots where there's a lot of pedestrian activity. You what?
She's identified some.
Yeah, perfect. So that was an amazing initiative. And then finally, I believe the splash pad that we've been talking about for years is opening soon. I see Andrew back there. If we can still do that Kids Day grand opening with the ice cream truck, if we can coordinate, that would be great, and looking forward to it. And it seems like maybe when it opens, it'll be warm again. Yeah, and that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Commissioner Gruber. Let's go to Commissioner Biederman.
Thank you, Mayor. Since Commissioner Gruber brought it up, this happens to be his district, but they told me about it. East of 68th Avenue on Charleston Street is apparently very dark. If we could check that out for street light or maybe just to trim trees. Thank you, everybody, for passing the commercial vehicle ordinance that I've been talking about for a dozen years. On behalf of all the residents that have take-home vehicles and are hardworking residents. On Commissioner Quintana also brought up the septic to sewer workshop we're going to be having in 2 weeks from today. I think our residents need to tune in so that they're fully aware of what is coming, when it's coming, how much it's going to cost, and all that and above. And of course, thank you, Parks and Rec, for bringing back the West concert series. I invite everybody to come out on February 21st to see Miami and Company concert from 7:30 to 9 p.m. All are welcome. Plenty of free parking. Well, we ran out of parking at Salsa Fest West, but plenty of parking normally. So come on out and enjoy a good free concert on the west side of town. And as Commissioner Hernandez said, stay warm, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Biederman. Commissioner Hernandez, I think you left out a comment that you wanted to share.
I did, and I would ask for support for this. Joanne Reese is here, and she's been asking me for years if we could do parking humps on 22nd Avenue for speed calming devices between Pembroke Road and Washington Street, which seems to be a raceway, and she happens to live on that corner. We've had humps, if you would, on other avenues, and drives a lot of traffic towards 22nd, and there's no stop sign between Pembroke Road and Washington Street, so that everybody uses it as a speedway. I would ask support for the engineering department, the police department, to put a trailer and to see if it actually warrants to be able to have those speed humps there.
Support.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Joanne, I saw you and I said I need to be able to bring it in a public setting so that we can get the support from the commission, so thank you for being here.
So just a few comments from myself in the spirit of discussion about street lighting. Very happy to see the daily progress being made on the Johnston Street lighting project in the vicinity of Memorial Regional Hospital, heading east towards I-95 and then eventually beyond with those consecutive Johnston Street projects that I think will make it a safer corridor all the way through east of even US 1 from 35th and the hospital. So that's great to see. This Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. A lot of folks will be having a great time inviting friends to watch the Super Bowl at 6 p.m. on Sunday. But before 6 p.m., if you want to catch in some great music, the Rhythm Foundation, together with the Broward Cultural Division and Hot 105 and sponsors are all producing a Hurricane Melissa Relief Benefit Concert featuring international reggae stars Burning Spear, legend in himself, and then, of course, Third World, which had their 50th anniversary show here at the Arts Park some years ago. You all might have heard that, unfortunately, their lead guitarist and founding member, Kat Kaur, had passed away about a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. And so this will be a very special show commemorating his legacy and with a lot of great tributes from the band and special guests. So that'll be beginning at the Arts Park at 3 p.m. is when the doors are opening. And so please, before the Super Bowl, you'll be able to catch a great show at the Arts Park. And the ticket sales go toward Hurricane Melissa relief for the country of Jamaica. You can get tickets if you'd like to purchase a donation ticket, HollywoodArtsParkExperience.com. And then, as the month goes on, there'll be a lot of special events, as many of you have noted, Black History Month events as well during the month of February. But on February 13th, Ignite Broward comes back to downtown Hollywood and to Young Circle for, I believe, a 10-day or more, great, selection of events with beautiful light displays and technology art at the Arts Park, and there'll be some concerts that are produced by the Rhythm Foundation together with that. So let's look forward to a great month of special events as the weather hopefully stays beautiful for the next 30 days so we can all enjoy this beautiful time of year. So thank you all, everyone. Stay safe. City Attorney?
Hi, thank you so much. I have had a few questions regarding some properties in the city, and an update has been requested regarding the Protano properties in particular. I'd like to invite Kendra Breeden from my office, who has been working on these matters for the past several years, to come up and just give a brief update.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commission. So I wanted to give an update on the Protano properties. The first property, or it's two separate properties, but it was filed as one foreclosure. That's 824 and 826 North Dixie. The foreclosure was filed back in September of 2021. The city was scheduled to attend the motion for summary final judgment of the foreclosure. That was back on March 30th of 23. On the eve of the motion for summary final judgment, plaintiff filed a bankruptcy, which stayed the foreclosure action. The bankruptcy was filed. The city was working with the property owners to reach some type of agreement to bring the property into compliance and also help the property owner get out of foreclosure. We attended an executive session where we were given guidance to present a settlement offer to the plaintiff. We presented the offer. They declined it. At that time, our office moved for a dismissal of the bankruptcy. The bankruptcy was dismissed, allowing the city to move forward with the foreclosure. I went back to the circuit court to proceed with resetting the motion for final summary judgment. At that time, they filed an appeal of the dismissal of the bankruptcy that was filed with the U.S. District Court. That was filed back in 24. The U.S. District Court affirmed the dismissal, stating that it was properly dismissed and that the city could move forward with the foreclosure. They filed a second appeal with the U.S. District Court, which is where we are right now. On January 20th, we attended a mediation that was required by the U.S. District Court. At that mediation, it was unsuccessful, which resulted in an impasse. Right now, their brief in the appeal is due on the 10th, and then 30 days after that, our answer will be due. So regarding that property, I expect that within 6 to 8 months, we should have a decision on the second appeal. Based off of the lower court's ruling, we believe the dismissal was proper, and we hope that they affirm that, and then at that point, we can go back to the circuit court and move forward with our foreclosure. That's for the 824 and the 826. For the second property, 1708 North Dixie, our foreclosure complaint was filed in September of 25. The answer was due 30 days after that. On the date the answer was due, the attorney for plaintiff filed a motion for extension of time. Our office has attempted to coordinate a date that they can get the answer. It has been unsuccessful. We have set a hearing with the court, which is scheduled for the 10th of this month. At that hearing, the court will direct plaintiff to file an answer by a certain amount of time, and if they fail to file the answer, we can move forward in the lawsuit without their response.
Mayor, if I may.
Thank you, Commissioner Clary. Vice Mayor.
Thank you very much. I guess my question would be, are we still applying fines through code as far as noncompliance and nuisance?
For the 824, 826, they are in compliance. So the fines stopped. Part of the settlement in the bankruptcy was that they had to bring the property into compliance. That's the one where they went in, cleaned up, removed all of the junk. So they are in compliance for that one according to code. So that one is not accruing any fines. The other one, 1708, it is still in violation, and they are still accruing fines on.
Okay, if there's code, I don't know if that's, I mean, if I drive by the 824 and it definitely doesn't look like it's in compliance, it still looks like a junkyard and it's bringing our city down. That's the whole reason why we move forward with all of these efforts. We need to, whatever we have to do, I think, expedite and get these properties. We've been talking since 2021 it's time that we do a facelift somehow. So thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Thank you. I got a question that I'm not sure I want to ask, but if you just said that 824 and 826 are in compliance, and we had a forgiveness plan all throughout last year, 2025, that if you bring your property into compliance, we will forego you fines, can somebody explain that to me? Because it's going to come up publicly at some point. If we had the ability to forgive those fines to other people, and we have, do we not have the ability to forgive those fines?
No, one of the requirements is that you cannot be in active litigation with the city.
Okay, and the reason that I say it because I knew it would come up and people would ask me about it. So thank you for that. Now, when it comes to that, that means that no foreclosure process or anything like that. But if the fines are accruing and you bring them up to date and you comply with the fines, with the violations, then you have to hook.
As long as there's no active litigation.
No active litigation. My understanding is that that program has also been extended for 6 months. Is that correct?
That's correct, until June 30th.
Thank you. So for those individuals that happen to be in violation and you thought you missed the boat, you have until June 30th to be able to comply in order to avoid something like this. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. City Attorney, is that it?
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you,
so much.
Kendra.
Thank you.
City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, and to all the members of the public and staff. Have several, so I'll move through them quickly here. The Broward MPO is going to be holding a live in-person meeting on the A1A infrastructure improvements jointly with the City of Hollywood and Hallandale. Be tomorrow, February 5th at 6 p.m. the Hollywood Beach Culture and Community Center. Majesty of Rock Arts Park concert this Saturday, the 7th at 7 p.m. And it's apparently one of the most well-known Journey and Styx tribute bands in the country, so that should be good. You already
Let's
did.
blast that in the airwaves of the world. Let people know.
There you go. There you go. You already did the Burning Spear and the Ignite Broward. Thank you for that. Not quite as exciting, but just as important, we have our fiscal kickoff meeting on February 23rd at 9 a.m. in the second floor meeting room of Development Services Hub. And again, I know we say this each time, but this meeting, along with the budget workshops and public hearings, are some of the most important meetings that we hold each year. If you want to really capture, and I'm really speaking to the members of the public now, some of the things that are priorities and trends and how things may be moving forward with the City of Hollywood, this is certainly one of the valuable ones to capture with. So with that, would like to ask a couple of folks here to do some introductions. First, if Assistant City Manager Adam Reichbach can do some intros to our new Budget and Performance Management Director. Where'd he go? He's already there.
I'm quick. Stealth, exactly. Good afternoon, everyone. Adam Reichbach, Assistant City Manager. I am very pleased and honored to introduce to you all our new Budget Director, who his name is Duncan Brown Jr. We won't hold against him too much that he is from Texas and he is a graduate of Texas Tech University, but he does come with a wealth of experience in financial and budget management from the cities of Dallas, City of San Antonio, City of Beaumont. And so with that, I would like to ask if Duncan wants to come up and at least introduce himself to you all, and you can ask him all the questions you want. But thank you, City Manager, for the shameless plug. We do have our fiscal kickoff, which is our official start to fiscal year 2027. Crazy to think that. And our budget development process. And Duncan will be, of course, part of that, working alongside Nisha and the rest of the budget team. So, Duncan.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, the rest of the Commission. I'm excited to be here to work with the City of Hollywood, Florida, get familiar with the processes, meet all the directors, and learn about their operations and how we can help improve the City of Hollywood's financial status and the operations within the city.
Well, welcome, and it's exciting that you're from Texas, only because we hear a lot about Texas. I don't know what it is about Texas, but it seems like it's one of the, in many ways, the fastest growing state. And I think people speak to a good regulatory environment over there. I don't know if you have any impressions that you can share with us on what you think either the cities that you worked with have been doing well or what the state's doing right to attract all the investment and growth that it has been?
Not at this time. I don't have any input or
They
feedback.
manage their budgets okay? Is that what it is?
Yes, sir. I think we have, really good processes in the largest cities that I've worked at, meet with departments, doing monthly forecasts, kind of the budget control process that we have to make sure that we maintain the required fund balances and go out for the, required debt to maintain our infrastructure and our facilities as well.
The nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty, the hard work.
Well, that's great. That's a monthly review and annual budget cycles is all about what it takes to keep the right eye and to have that upcoming fiscal year budget be even that much tighter. So appreciate that. Thank you. Welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it.
Next, I'd ask our Director of Public Safety, Chris O'Brien, to introduce our new Emergency Management Director. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's hear it, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners.
Is it Marco Rubio?
I don't have any shameless plugs,
He's got another. I was looking at Chief Levy there, and I'm saying maybe we added another title there.
No. Like Adam, very excited to introduce our newest member of our team, our new emergency manager, Ms. Veronica Perez. Veronica, can you come up here with us? So Veronica made a very wise decision to join us here at the City of Hollywood after spending the past 8 years at Miami-Dade County of Emergency Management. She has an extensive experience in emergency management, including planning, logistics, operations, critical infrastructure, EOC activations, community outreach, and special event coordination. Her EOC activation experiences include the COVID-19 pandemic, Surfside building collapse, 6 hurricane activations, major special events, and numerous demonstrations and protests and other events. She's been actively involved in regional planning for the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup and upcoming FIFA World Cup events. And her recommended best practices and strategies for those events have been published in 3 countries. She is a certified emergency manager through the International Association of Emergency Managers and is also a Florida professional emergency manager through the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association. Sounds pretty important, Adam. Just saying there. Veronica graduated valedictorian from FIU's Academy for International Disaster Preparedness with a master's in disaster management and will soon graduate with a master's in security studies from the Naval Postgraduate School. She also has experience in building and enhancing emergency management programs, and that's why she's here with us. As you know, this position's been vacant for quite some time. We went through many rounds of interviews. We needed to make sure we found the right fit, and we certainly found the right fit. So, Ms. Veronica.
All right. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you very much, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney, City staff, and residents as well. I'm super excited to start and be a part of the Hollywood team. I'm looking forward to working with city administration, including Public Safety Director O'Brien and city staff to better serve the residents, tourists, and businesses for the City of Hollywood. He pretty much did a pretty thorough job about presenting me. I don't know if you happen to have any questions. I know time is of the essence, and I don't want to take up too much of your time.
We got nothing but time.
Well, I'll tell you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
I know we'll have an opportunity to discuss. Commissioner Shim, did you want to?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Veronica, come back up.
Veronica, we are so excited that you are here. Welcome. I mean, an amazing resume.
Thank
you.
you.
The timing is so great because this time of year, we start to look ahead to hurricane season.
Exactly.
So just welcome. We hope that we never need all of those qualifications, but boy, oh boy, are we so glad that you have them and
Fingers
that you're
crossed.
here. Yeah. I'll only mention, and I'm sure we'll be in touch, is many of the, particularly east of the civic associations, they love, maybe May, around that time frame to have a presentation on the latest ideas for best protecting themselves in storms and things like that. So we'll get together and talk about it.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. Just so you know, one of the areas or programmatic areas I used to oversee when I was in Miami-Dade, especially when I first started out, was community outreach. It was a big thing that Miami-Dade County did, and at least I know that the Office of Emergency Management is a young department. I think it would be a great way to interact with the residents and push the department's mission forward of educating and preparing the community. So thank you.
Fantastic. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Seems like.
And speaking of cold weather, our Director of Housing and Community Development, Ryan Kutzman, is going to share some information with our recent spells of some service delivery with the homeless population living on the street, unfortunately, in those conditions, and cooperation with the Caring Place, and some good success stories there. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, Assistant City Manager, City Attorney. Ryan Koo, Community Development. So cold weather activation typically happens in our county when the weather drops below 50 degrees. Cold weather activation plays a big role in not only protecting life, but also takes a strain off our emergency response team because we're moving people who are unsheltered from the streets into shelters. So the strain of them dealing with them on the street won't be there during the cold weather snap. In addition to that, it also shows a city or a county's humanitarian efforts to helping those in need. So this last event was a very long cold weather event because it started on January 23rd, and it's technically still going on right now because there might be some more cold weather coming this coming weekend. So the county spearheads this initiative, and they did a very good job of really coordinating things this year. So I have to take my hat off to Broward County's HOSD. HOSD stands for Housing Options, Solutions, and Supports Division. They led the effort and galvanized partners and brought us to the table. They brought to the table our partners at the Caring Place, the Broward Outreach Center, Miami Rescue Mission. They brought together the North and Central HAC, that's operated by BPHI. They brought together the Salvation Army, Hope South Florida, and the City of Hollywood. We were at the table too as well because we play a role in this process because we become a strong partner now with the county, with the addition of our community court and our efforts through the task force in the Miami and the Caring Place to move our residents from the street to housing. Throughout the process, the county on average was placing about 170 people approximately per day in shelter throughout every night since the 23rd, with the highest day being February 1st, which is really cold. It's about 211 people. In Hollywood, we saw tremendous synergy between our partners and the county, in particular, our partners at the Caring Place and the task force, and the City of Hollywood PD as well, too. Task Force and the City of Hollywood PD worked in tandem to move residents who were on the street into the shelter that we have there at the Caring Place to ensure that they would have the protection and safety they need throughout the cold weather snap. In addition to that, they served on average 40 people per day, with the highest number being 48 on February 1st. The Caring Place went much more than just providing them with service for that night. They actually administered care, they administered services, and they provided them with access to care, access to treatment to help reduce homelessness or move them out of the situation. In particular, one family, one young lady rather, was assisted in tandem with the Hollywood PD and the Caring Place, and they were able to take that young lady who was brought in during the cold weather threat, and they placed her, reunified her with her family. So she was placed successfully. In addition to that, the vast majority of the people that were placed at the Caring Place were from the City of Hollywood, and many of them are now accepting services or they were enrolled into their program. So in addition to providing these people with safety during the cold weather threat, they were also provided with access to transformative care to help move them from the streets to stable housing. So that's basically the report that I have to share with everybody. If any questions.
Just from all of us, thank you, Ryan. Really to everybody involved, from police to the different nonprofit agencies that we work with, the Caring Place, obviously itself, and all the partners. Obviously speaks to the compassion and the humanitarian side, as you said, but also to the strategic, effort to try to help people get back on their feet and to keep the city safe as well. So, well done by everyone. Well done.
And I want to give a quick shout out to a member of my team, Community Development City of Hollywood's team, who did a phenomenal job throughout the process. Angela Blaine, she's our community core coordinator, and she was really Johnny on the spot that day. She was getting all the text messages, because the county created like a WhatsApp group, and we're all on it, but she was the one monitoring it, ensuring that our partners are responsive and moving the needle forward for the city of Hollywood. So let's give her a shout out when you see her.
Got that great accent too, right?
She's our resident UK mayor of the city of Hollywood. Yes.
Commissioner Quintana?
I just wanted to also express appreciation. And, you know, with everything that's said about often people say government doesn't really do anything. I mean, this is really an example that when government works as it should and it's coordinated at all levels, really amazing things can happen. So I'm glad that it worked out this way. And I understand that our support from the county to the Caring Place has been expanded, which is much needed. And I'm sure it's still not enough, but I know that we can serve more people than we could before. So thank you for you and your team for everything you're doing.
And thank you for mentioning that, because without that synergy, the county and the city of Hollywood and those partners working together, this would have been a real heavy lift.
Yeah.
But we were able to make it happen because of all those folks working together.
Commissioner Shuham?
Thank you. Well, I was going to comment similarly, but just simply this is another example of city actually saving lives. I mean, it was so cold. And I just thank you and your department, also HPD and our homelessness, well, the task force, but our task force is very high functioning. But the one question I have, two scenarios. One, in this situation, when we get texts from our residents that says, I see a family or I see a person sleeping here, I typically reach out to HPD. Is that the correct, or is there a faster, better way? I mean, they're amazing, but I'm just curious, is that the right thing that I'm doing?
You can do that. That works too as well. Typically, you can reach out to us or HPD, and then we will mobilize a task force who would then engage that family, provide them what's called an assessment to determine what the vulnerabilities are, and then based on their vulnerability, try to get them placed someplace, whether it's temporary until a more long-term solution can be found. So you are taking the right steps. You can contact the police, you can contact my department, and then we would mobilize the task force who would then re-engage that family on the street or that individual.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Biederman?
No, I just want to say what a great job with this homeless thing, and the community court really turned out to be a very successful endeavor, and all the things that you guys do, and the current social marketing, social media marketing on the programs that all of our LMI neighborhoods get to take advantage of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Great work.
Thank you.
Mr. City Manager.
And lastly, just in advance, a week from Saturday will be Valentine's Day. So
Ooh, la, la.
happy Valentine's Day to everybody, and we certainly need more happy and healthy hearts out there. Thank you, Mayor. Yes.
I like that, George. All right, that concludes the comments, and so we will recess until 5 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.